In our Walkabout World, we have built churches and houses and hobbit holes, stables, taverns and even windmills. Today, we are going to be able to give you a world download that is a little bit wetter. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening and good night, and welcome to another episode from me, Avomance, in the Walkabout World series. This series is where I build one, I think, really quite nice building and offer you the world download. But the world comes with all the previous buildings that we've done in it before. The world download link is in the description below for what I'm doing this week, which you've not even done yet, which is a little bit confusing for my brain. As you can see, last time was episode 8, and that was a couple of weeks ago. We did this windmill that I'm really pleased with the way this came out. Actually, get that video link in the description below as well. In fact, look at the entire playlist, why don't you? I've added a little bit of extra interest just to add a little bit to the lore of the area by putting in some just fanciful things. And around here we have got the road that leads us up to episode 9, which is what we're doing today. So I suspect at the end of this road there is very little. Nope, I was not wrong. There is absolutely nothing at the end of this road. You can see the windmill is over there. Today, we are going to do something a little bit wetter, which is going to mean I've got a lot of preparation to do to make this right, because we're going to make a dock. So obviously, if you need a dock, you need kind of a sea to put the dock on. Otherwise, it doesn't quite work, does it? It'll look a bit rubbish. So I need to somehow make this area into a bit of a sea, and I can see there being a not inconsiderable amount of digging going on to achieve this, so I guess I better crack on. Now, I've got to be honest, I'm not entirely certain how this one is going to come out, so I've chosen a palette that is very stony and very woody, but specifically oak and spruce, but lots and lots of different types of stone and a few little decorative bits. No question I'm going to be throwing other stuff in, for example barrels and that kind of stuff too are going to be all over this dock. Let's get on with it. Now, when I first thought about doing a dock, I didn't really think it through very well, because I've now got to dig out what's effectively an ocean, which means I want to come quite some way away from the end of the road, probably potentially all the way out here, to start to dig out what is going to be an ocean. And this is going to be a little bit insane. Now, the one thing that I do have to be very honest about here is I'm not going to be digging this fella particularly deep, because if I do, I'm never going to get it full of water, am I? Let's face it. So I need to kind of dig it out in a way that's, you know, sensible to be able to do like this. And also there are going to be a number of layers of, well, not a number of layers, but there's going to be layers of blue glass underneath the water, so as the water's not really deep, if that makes sense. I'm sure you understand exactly what it is I'm trying to say there. So I guess I better just get on with that. Realised that even that big rectangle wasn't really big enough, so I started to branch out and make it slightly longer. Now, as I mentioned, we don't actually want this too deep, otherwise it'll be too difficult to manage, so I'm going to go down just 4 blocks. Once I had eventually got all of that dirt out, I then chose a light blue stained glass block to come one off the bottom and give a really nice sheen of blue across the top. This is going to make it easier for me to be able to put water in later. going to come as no surprise to anybody that was a bigger job than I thought. However, look, with Silda's enhanced shaders, that is really quite nice, isn't it? Enhanced default shaders. That is lovely. It actually looks like this light blue glass, like water, and it makes the green underneath more water-like from that grass. And also that means when more water goes on top, it's going to look just really, really water-like. I'm quite happy. That was a lot of waters in one sentence. It's not even close to being big enough. I may have to extend it out a little bit further, which scares the bejesus out of me. But before we do that, we're going to look at the sides, because I'm not going to put any water in until we have got, I've got a rogue block there, until we have got some rocky sides, because you don't really just want grass on the side of your ocean like that. It doesn't work. So we're going to try and make this into a little bit more of a rocky outcrop. So it's just a little bit more natural looking. So it's going to come out into the ocean here, and we're just going to build up some sides. And I think what will happen then is we'll have a much better look and feel for the actual harbour itself. Get rid of the dirt there and there. And I think, yeah, this sort of shape, just continue to build it up and just try it over and over just to make sure it doesn't look too unnatural. If I get rid of that like that, have that come out there. It won't matter the fact that there's no cobblestone underneath that glass, because it will be very, very difficult to see anyway, so the effect will still be there. So I'm just going to continue to make this up, and we're going to jot in some mossy cobble in as well, because obviously this is right up against the water and under the water. It's going to be well mossy, this is. So let's just get that in like that. I think that's quite nice. And then we can also throw, just to make it look more naturally rocky, some other textures in as well, like that. That looks quite nice. And then just to break up the large bits, we can just pop in some slabs and also some steps, just to make it look a little bit more detailed. So I'm just going to continue to do that along the edge a little way, and I'll match it on the other side. 2 rocky outcrops later, you can see we've got a massive long area all the way along here that we are going to try and build mostly into a dock area. This is probably the most ambitious walkabout that I've done so far, but I think it might look all right. It's going to have so much detailing. Anyway, let's crack on. I'm now going to replace all of this area here with some stone, because what we're going to do is we're going to transform the rocky area, and we're going to slowly transform that across into some stone bricks. So obviously starting with some mossy stone bricks at the back here. I think I'm only going to go back a couple from the edge with this stone, because we're also going to start to transform this into wood as well, and I do want to raise it up. So I've got a bit of a challenge on this one, I think, because this needs to come down too, because I want this to be that high, because I want it to be kind of up and raised. So a little bit of work to do on this. Let's crack on. So we have built out a significant harbour. I did extend this ever so slightly. I just felt a little bit uncomfortable, so I put about another 10 blocks in for the length of this. I probably won't make any difference, but for anything except the thumbnail at the end, but it just made me feel a little bit better about myself, and it actually starts to set me up for the next Walkabout World, which is going to be out there somewhere. So I've also extended out the rocks on the one side, not so much on the other, because I just wanted them slightly uneven. They were just too symmetrical and I didn't like it. And I've got a big wooden platform at the back that is going to form the docks, and on this we're going to put some buildings and some various other bits. Basically it's going to be docks. We've done most of the work already. What we've not done, however, is put in any water or brought out the dock into the water, both of which is, I would say, fairly important. So what we're going to do is we're going to come across the top here, and we're going to use the fact that water runs itself into infinite water source blocks. If you put two water source blocks next to each other. So for example, there and there, then we've got all those three are now water source blocks there, all those 5 there, those 7, etc, etc. I'm just going to fill this up like this, and then when I come along to the sides, if I pop that there, that will roll water source blocks along for me. I don't have to put water source blocks along the entire thing, which will be really painstaking. So let's crack on with that. As I hit the rocks, I've got to make sure I waterlog all of the waterloggable blocks, things like steps and slabs and fences on those rocks, to improve the flow of the water across the entire harbour. The water is now all in, and it does look even better than just the blue glass. I was going to do that too deep, but I decided as I went along I quite liked the effect it had on some of those waterloggable blocks, especially the fences, giving the appearance of some like rock pools and things like that along the sides, and I quite like that. So I decided let's leave it just one deep. It won't make that much difference to the build, so we might as well enjoy it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out the pier area into the water a little bit. It's going to have to come out a fair bit, I reckon. If I go so coming out from this post 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and then we put another, that's a holding block, then 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and then that's another holding block, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, another holding block. That should be relatively evenly spaced, and we're going to do it another couple of times. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, holding block, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. I think I fluffed that. 1 2 3 4. Yes, I did. Thought so. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Yep, and we're going to complete this out on both sides. These blocks will obviously become pier supports like this. We're going to go relatively rustic on this fella, I think, rather than it being a modern build. So we come up there, that can then come into the water, and we can drill that down through like that. That's perfect, and we can do that on both sides, and we've got ourselves a decent sized pier. I'll be back when I've done that. So I've decided to create a T shape on this platform to give more space for boats to come up, and we've got a lowered platform as well at the end that's going to allow the very small boats and the rowboats to be able to unstock their wares as well. Ladders up all the sides of those posts just to be able to have plenty of moorings for the boats that maybe can't reach. The taller boats, however, obviously can just pull up right alongside. Now, what I do need to do is I need to get these two ends kind of blocked off, because otherwise it just sort of, it's got no form or substance at the end there, has it? So I'm going to build out some warehousing type buildings at the end here. I think that will work quite well, which can incorporate this part of the grass and also the entrance. So if it's warehousing, my guess is it's probably relatively big. So if I grab that there, go 1 2 3 4 5 there, 1 2 3 4 5 there, 1 2 3 4 5 there, 1 2 3 4 5 and there, that will act as the, yeah, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this can be the entrance. I think that was one too many, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Of kind of almost a arches, I guess. Kind of, no, I've done it again, look. Right, so some arches going across that way, and they're going to go back, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then there. And then I can pop that like that, and then come all the way across here. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then there. Equal those out, and probably stick one in the middle, perhaps, shall we? Is that level? Did I get that right? No, I didn't. There we go. So we're going to put that there. So I'm going to build something out of that, and then I'm going to duplicate the entire building, well, duplicate-ish, the entire building at the other end. So let's just get this one built. We've now got two buildings that look very similar. Hopefully, I've not made too many mistakes, but very similar at the ends of this pier here. So now we need to build up kind of around the area, because this is very big, plain looking, boring area. And what I might do, get some of this stripped oak log and just texture up this floor, because actually I reckon if we can get this slightly textured, it's going to take some of that monotony out of it. Not too much, just a little bit. And it's got to be kind of in various random ways. But I think if we can make that look quite nice, then that's going to take that huge, bulky kind of tan brownness out of the eye, which is a little bit offensive if I'm being brutally honest. If I just pop this in all the way over for the entirety of this, is going to be a job and a half, isn't it? You ever get the feeling that you've bitten off more than you can chew sometimes? Yeah, that's one of these moments right now. But in reality, I think if we can just do something like that, it will probably be okay. Right, so I'm just going to carry on doing this, fill up this walkway, and see if we can't get it to look half decent with a little bit of texture. And then we'll just start to build it up with some detail. So I've detailed it a little bit more. We've put an edge across this end because we need to block it off so as it's got a start and a finish. The rocks coming all the way around and the fence continuing all the way across. We now need to turn this into an actual port. And what's the first thing you need when you turn something into a port? Well, obviously we need a bit of a boat. Now I'm not going to have a massive boat because frankly, if I put a massive boat in here, it's going to look a little bit strange. But what I can do is I can get a boat in here that possibly works out. So this is just me getting it ready. If that's the side of the boat just there like that, so that's pulled alongside like that, we can then build this boat in so as it's got a bit of a hole that comes in this way, there and there. Yeah, that works. So, and if I just build up now, this isn't going to look like a boat straight away. I don't know how many boats you've built in your life, but at the minute this is going to look nothing like the boat that I hope it looks like at the end, but I guess we'll find out. So I'm just going to crack on and finish this. beginning to pull this together now. The hint of some rocks in the ocean, a decent sized boat that's going to have cargo on the underside and also inside it, a little skiff and a few little boats there. We've also got obviously the rocks and all the structure of the pier itself, and would you believe it, another wandering con man. Now what we need to do is build up a few more buildings, get things like a crane, some carts and other various items onto the docks, and we will be pretty much done. So prepare yourself for a relatively full time lapse. And I do believe we may have finished. I'm at one end of the dock and you can just see where I've put in a little bit of detail along the edge just to break up that hard edge there. I didn't like it, so I put just down some bone meal. But let's see what we've done, because we've done quite a lot. I've placed lots of little block details here. We've got our little market stall people here, not really selling anything. They're not particularly interested, frankly, in me. I don't think they want to make any money. But we've got logs, we've got light standards, we've got boats out in the harbour, we've got animal pens, repeated houses, well, kind of repeated, a nice crane at the end up here, which I'm really pleased with, actually, the crane. I think the crane came out really, really well, and as a result I very nearly built another one at the other end, and I thought, no, that's just extravagant. This is a medieval dock, you don't need too much. And all in all, I think it came out pretty well. Episode 9 complete, and this one was definitely more than I thought it was going to be. That wasn't what I planned when I started out. It just kind of grew and grew and grew. Now don't forget, the world download, not just for this build, but for all 9 of the builds in this Walkabout World series that go back all the way back there, all of them, you can download that completely for free in the description below. Go straight there, put it in your saves folder, and you will find that you are standing in exactly the same place that I am now. That was a real lot of fun. If you have enjoyed this video, please remember to slap that like button. It'd be great to know you enjoyed them, and I will keep on making them. Also, if you've not done it already, please do hit that subscribe button. It'd be great to see you in my sub club, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. You take it easy now. Bye.